So, sir, before we start, sir, I just want to know what is your name, sir?
My name is Dr. Ayodele Olabode.
Okay, sir. It's nice meeting you, sir.
My pleasure.
Yes, sir. So, to begin with, sir, I just want to know what is your opinion about teenagers? What do you think about teenagers moving out of their parents' houses, sir?
Well, in my opinion, I think when teenagers are moving out of the house of their parents, I mean, generally they have their own reasons for doing that, depending on how you look at it. But overall, I think it has got to do with independence. You know, kids trying to see, oh, I have to take control of my life at a point in time, you know. So getting out there to take control. And also, before they move out, there are some underlying factors responsible, looking at the parents and also looking at the kids, so the teenagers, so to say. So at the left to me, I think it's all about the issue of control. Personally, I think sometimes I'm from Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Nigeria, and when you look at our kids, the way we raise our kids coming back from home, it's a little bit different from what obtains here. So sometimes when our kids, when you bring them from home and they come over here to integrate, they become acculturated. What I mean, they get integrated in the system, and so to say. So there are some things parents will do now that doesn't go well with the kids, and so some of these kids are waiting till when they're going to get to that age they can get out of the house. Like I said, it's still all about control.
Yes, sir.
Taking control of their life.
So, you when you were talking, sir, you mentioned some underlying factors that causes these teenagers to move out of their parents' house. So, can you give us, I'm not saying everything, but can you give us a little bit of these underlying factors of why teenagers are moving out?
When I mention underlying factors, I mean, I'm talking in the context of some of us that are from Africa.
Yes.
Maybe you're from Nigeria, you're from Ghana, Guinea, Togo, and so on and so forth. Honestly, it's quite different from home, where you dictate to your kids back at home. Here in the States, it has to be a kind of a mutual communication between you and your kids. Gone are the days when you have to dictate and you want your kid to go unilaterally with you. Nowadays, when you look at our kids, they want you to convince them. They want reason. If you are telling your kids to do this or not to do that, I mean, they want explanation, which I think personally is key. You know, because they are not robots.
True.
They are not robots. So if you are telling kids to do this and do that and they are querying you, don't say, who are you? I'm your father. I'm your mom. So you have to listen. I know better than you know. No, this is a land of information, and we're in a different dispensation right now. So I think parents should be able to sit down and have one-on-one conversation with the kids so that they can be on the same page. So gone are the days where you can dictate. I'm not saying we cannot still talk to our kids, but I think the approach should be quite different. Should be on a friendly platform. I mean, you are still their parents, but you have to come to their level.
True.
And you guys will be able to have a very smooth communication, and you still be able to pass your message across and still be able to enforce discipline in your home. I mean, honestly, let me give you another example. It's about kids taking to what to do. Hey, when they get out of high school and they're going to college, I mean, parents just have to say, what do you want to do? Our responsibility, our duties, we have duties to guide them. That is our responsibility. And when you do that, don't say, this is what I want you to go do in college. This is what I want you to do in college. So we just have to see them and explain to them, this is the reason I want you to do this in college. And if you do this, these are the benefits, these are the things that you're going to get out of it. So, like I said, there must be the communication, you know. I mean, on a friendly level, they're your kids, but at the same time, you come their level, have what we call communication. You know, we just don't dictate. Communication is a two-way thing.
Yes.
It's a two-way thing. You know, you listen to them, you talk to them, you also listen to them, then you guys can make a decision, you know.
Yes, sir. So, concerning the financial part of this topic, sir, what do you think, you know, would be the financial, would they have a financial difficulty? Or, you know, some might say, well, when they move out, would they encounter financial difficulties, or they might just scale through?
It depends. It depends. It depends. I mean, some of them are likely to encounter some financial difficulty, and some of them might not.
So would you say majority of them, sir, would encounter financial difficulties, or a little percentage of them would encounter financial difficulties, sir?
Okay, let me tell you this. The reason I'm just looking at it, that a larger percentage of them are going to be negatively impacted, either financially or one way or the other. Come to think of it, let's say if you get out of high school and you live in your parents' house and you want to go to college, and your parents are not giving you the necessary support, how will you go? Because if you are talking about the states here, in the United States, it's very difficult. And if you leave your parents' house, I mean, you want to be independent, you're going to have an accommodation. When you have your accommodation, then you have your car, you have to pay insurance, you have to pay bills and so on, and you still want to be in school.
True.
I know most of them are going to tell you, well, I'm going to get a job.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a job. Yes, you're going to get a job. But you have to possibly work a minimum of 40 hours. And you are in college, taking almost 15 credit hours, 12 to 15 on full time. So how do you want to marry that? You know, so something is going to be in jeopardy.
True, sir.
It's either you are financially constrained, or your study is going haywire.
True.
Inability to go to class, poor grades, and so on and so forth. So in their thinking, they always think, hey, when I get out there, I'm going to get a job. I'm going to go to Walmart and take a job. Yes, going to go to Walmart and take a job. But looking at your responsibility, I mean, paying your bills and other things like that, and going to classes, would they be able to cope with? I doubt it. You know, majorly, some of them will not be able to survive. Something will have to give way at the end of the day.
Okay, sir. So, we are in America, which is, we know their culture, we know everything here in America. I guess, to your understanding, you should know that there are some parents that would want their children to move out of the house, you know, when they get to a certain age, like the age of 18, 19, because they feel their children are matured, or that was what happened to them, to move out of the house. So what do you think, you know?
Americans?
Yeah, Americans and some Nigerians also would want their children out.
I'll speak to the aspect of Nigerians. I won't want to go into, I'm not an American.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I came from Nigeria, so I'm going to speak to that.
Yes.
I'm not a fan of that. Okay, I'm confounded when I see parents saying at the age of 18, 19, their kids should get out of the house. To go do what? Honestly, this is when the support is most needed in terms of guidance. They are in school, you know, we want them to be 100% focused to their schoolwork. We even want to support them and to make them possibly work only on campus and not taking to work outside campus when they are in school. So why should we at that point say, oh, you are old enough, you have to get out of my house? Come on. We do apology. I don't belong to that school of thought. I think our kids should be at home, possibly we support them until they get out of college, before we start I see no reason why that should happen. I don't belong to that school of thought.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So,
I'm speaking in the context of coming from Africa, Nigeria over there.
Yes, sir.
So when you are talking about Americans, the white, I can't speak to that.
Okay, sir.
Yeah,
so, in your own point of view, sir, at what age would you think a parent should allow their children to move out of the house?
I mean, it depends on individual. Because, we should allow these kids to make their decisions. That's my opinion. I mean, I have a daughter who is a sophomore in college. Technically, I don't have to tell her when to get out. Sophomore in college, in 2 years, she's going to graduate. Yeah. Okay, if she decides not to go and do graduate school, or not to pursue another career, she's going to get a job. What about if she get a job in California? What are you going to do? In Ohio and something like that. So I think naturally these things will take care of themselves. So I won't be able to speak to that, oh, this is the age that we should get our kids. I mean, things will occur naturally, because rather than sending them, we want them to be around, provide necessary support, guide them. I mean, I'm speaking of the contents of where I came from.
Yes, sir.
Before they leave, okay? Yes. Because in Nigeria, when I was back home in Nigeria, when I was doing my master's degree at University of Ibadan, I was still drawing from parents, sure. And I was working, and my parents were still supporting because they were laughing at what I was handling. So they were still able to give me the necessary support. When I was writing my master's thesis at the University of Ibadan, my father still paid for that thesis.
Wow.
So that's why the fact that I was working. I was a graduate assistant in a university at that point in time, and my father still paid for my dissertation thesis. So I mean my thesis, my master's thesis, so to say. So what I'm saying in essence is it's quite different here, but we can't get here now and become acculturated, yeah, and begin to say, hey, in America, this is what we do now. No, we have a good culture. We have some cultural values that are great, that we still have to hold on to, particularly in raising our kids, provided them with the necessary support. Yeah.
So finally, sir, what advice would you give to parents in general regarding, children moving out of their houses?
Well, personally, I think I don't see reasons why parents should drive kids at home from their homes. I mean, no matter what they're doing, I mean, it's still their kids. It's still our responsibility to try and guide them, accommodate them, and make sure they get to that point where they can really get out there. And to our kids, we are not old school. I mean, some of these kids will still tell you, oh, these people, they are old school. Old school, yeah. We are not old school. We always say experience is the best teacher. We've been there. So we still have a lot to offer them, as they go out there to start their own lives. So to parents, I think let's support these kids. Yeah, I mean, and to these kids, listen to your parents. I mean, they still have one or things to tell you that will help you when you go out there and start your own life. So that would be my humble advice to parents. Let's communicate. It's a two-way thing. I mean, let's be patient with these kids. Let's listen to them, because when you listen to them, it gives you the opportunity to hear them, yeah, and that will help you to be able to guide them and help them put a plan on the table as to how they can plan their life.
All right. Thank you very much, sir, for your time, sir. I really appreciate bringing you on to this segment of our free talk show, and I really appreciate you, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir. So, ma, to start with, ma, I would like to know your name, ma.
My name is Oluwadamilola Adeniradiola.
Okay, ma. Thank you, ma. So I just want to ask, ma, what do you think about teenagers moving out of their parents' houses, ma?
To me personally, teenagers should still be under the watch. That's to me, because like we have it back home, the benchmark or the statutory age that we can be thinking of being independent, so to say, could be anything from 18 years. That one should be late teenage. As long as a child is still in high school, let me just put that tag, high school, secondary school, so to say, back in Nigeria, that person should still be under, the guidance of the parents, because then you're still learning, you have more wisdom, more counsel, you can ask questions. But immediately you finish high school, you finish secondary school, you tend to look for a job. Then you like be having the idea of staying alone. That idea shouldn't even cross your mind when you are still in high school or you are still in secondary school, that you want to stay alone. For what reason? What do you know about life? What can you say? How do you like fend for yourself and get to do something? But when the person finishes high school or secondary school, then you start to think of how to get job, because it is from the job you work that you're able to get little savings that you can stand alone. You cannot say you want to stand alone now and ask your parents to come and give you money to go and rent a house, and when the money gets expired or you finish your house rent for that period of duration, you come back again to come and ask someone. They will ask you, who pushed you out? Nobody. And there are some too that maybe because the parents are living in an environment that is not so conducive. They are not living in their own home, and maybe the teenager feels that, no, this place cannot be too okay for us. I will advise in such situation, if he has means, he should be able to support the parents to be in a better environment, rather than thinking of going to stand alone.
Thank you very much, ma. So what are the causes? What do you think are the causes of teenagers moving out of their parents' houses, ma?
Yeah, the causes of teenagers moving out, one is they want to have freedom, which they believe their parents will not give to them. And, in getting freedom is maybe due to peer pressure influence. Maybe they see one of their friends doing that, they want to do it. So under normal condition, you should have a genuine reasons for what you want to do. You don't say because so person is doing it, you want to do it. Because you are not on the same pedestal. Like, by virtue of exposure and some other things, that person may be advanced or ahead of that person. So you don't have to base your judgment. You have to look inwards. If I'm standing alone, will I be able to withstand the challenges out there alone, not running to somebody to come and help you?
And regarding the financial aspects, man, do you think they will encounter financial difficulties when they move out of their parent houses, man?
Sure, they will. Even when you look at back home there now, presently, the nation is even encountering financial difficulties. A family man that have been, a family man having children for years still have little challenges. So not to talk of a teenager that is just starting life, is just being introduced. The way that we handle money when they see it is different from the way somebody who get back to them we handle. Because that one knows what life is all about. But for teenagers now, immediately you see the money, they want to blow it out. So when you blow it out and everything is finished, then you begin to scratch your head. How do you go about it? So definitely there is no way they will not face little financial difficulties. And that is another reason why I even said it in the beginning. When you are under your parents for certain years, you learn how they are spending habit. Right from the early teenagers, say you should have been saving. When you have foresight for what you want in the future, you know how to manage money. And you know how to manage money, then the difficulty will be a little minimal. Why it will not be totally out there is that most time demands what we want is more than what we need. And the resources to meet them, they are so meager. So if you ask me now, every one of us, we have so many things that we desire we want to have. But the means of getting them is very, very small. And so that's where comes the financial difficulty. So if it's not mentally developed to be able to know how to spend, how to manage money, how to keep, definitely you will face.
And finally, ma, what is your advice to parents that wants their children out of the house and parents that wants to keep their children, they feel they are matured to go out, ma?
Yes, to parents that wants to keep their children to feel to when they are matured, I will give my support to such parents, because you are the one that gave back to your child. you know the upbringing, you know the value you are inculcating in that child, you know the training you are giving to that child. So you already know within yourself that he has not gotten enough to be able to go out there. And so for such a parent, if he's keeping it to when he feels, but such a parent too should not keep that child more than necessary. Because, you know, there is parental love. Parental love, even for people that are married, they still want them around them. So the parent too should like guide. When do you even think and feel that this person is matured in your own? Don't be selfish in your maturity, in what you are thinking about your maturity. You get it? If you are not selfish, if it is just for their good, then there should be a limit to when you can keep them. And for parents that want to push their children out, you know, I don't see a good parent doing that when at the early stage of life you push. It's like you are pushing the child out into the mouth of the lion. You don't like have a good vision for that child, and they are your children. And that's why the Bible says train your child in the way they will go. So if you don't give them the proper training and you throw them out into the mouth of the lion, they got devoured. At the end of it, you have no successor to such parents. So parents should be careful pushing their children out. Give them the right training, give them the right values that will make them to be able to stand. And they too, they'll be remembering their parents. No, my parents once told me about this, and this is the reality of life. And the advice, the counsel you gave to them, they will be able to apply it, you know, to their knowledge. Ordinarily, I don't believe in parents harboring children more than necessary for their selfish interest. I see it for their selfish interest. Children are supposed to have stand alone, and you watch them. Because parents, till you go to old age and go to see God, you transit to glory, you will still continue to give counsel to children. You cannot totally withdraw from them. It's just that there's a limit to what you can say, because they are now grown up, they are independent. So it's two-way. It's not that you just leave them totally like that, and it's not that you just keep them for your own selfish interest. Somebody who's, you know, at the age of 24 should have stand alone, seeing how to manage life, how to get a spouse. You are still keeping such a person under your roof. Was that the way your parents did it to you? Because if that was the way, I believe you will not be there, you know, to give back so early to such child. That will help us.
Amen, ma. Thank you very much, ma, for your time, ma. So, ma, are you in support of teenagers moving out of their parents' house?
No, I'm not supporting.
Why, ma?
Because we go out there without no God prayer, I don't know what they are doing. Because they still need control. We still have to control them. Not so going to be asked to them, but you have to control them with the word of God. Because we don't want them to go out there. When they go out, we don't know what they are doing. But if you sit in us, you sit in our house, we sit together, we can talk together, we can pray together, we can put the word of God together. So that's the reason why the teenagers not to move to their parents' house earlier.
So, ma, what age do you think children can move out of their parents' house, ma?
To move out, it's not say to move out generally. To move out, maybe they get another opportunity, like school, like job. That is, for me, I don't know about another parent. For me, if they have more opportunities, more jobs that they need to go, they have to go. So that's it.
And finally, ma, what do you think about the financial difficulty? You know, like when they move out of their parents' house, do you think they will encounter difficult times financially, or, you know?
Me, I'm not sure it's going to be difficult because we have to help them also. So far, sometimes they are working, but no one will let them do the full job that's going to weigh them down. We have to be supporting them also. So.
Okay, ma. Thank you very much for your time, ma.